1982. Ryan White is 3 years old. He has severe hemophilia. His blood doesn't clot. Without treatment, a simple bruise could kill him. Every week, Ryan gets infusions of Factor VIII, a clotting factor made from donated blood. It's keeping him alive. What his parents don't know, each dose is made from blood pooled from thousands of donors. And some of those donors have HIV, a virus no one is testing for. A virus that's about to contaminate the entire blood supply. Over the next 3 years, half of all severe hemophiliacs in America will be infected with HIV from their medicine. Thousands of transfusion recipients will be infected. And the blood industry will fight every attempt to make the supply safe. Outbreak, Episode 4, The Tainted Blood. 1982. The American blood supply is considered the safest in the world. Millions donate blood annually. Millions receive transfusions. For hemophiliacs, concentrated clotting factor is a miracle. Made by pooling plasma from up to 20,000 donors, extracting the clotting proteins they need. Each batch of Factor VIII could contain plasma from thousands of donors across the country. If even one donor was infected, the entire batch was contaminated. One infected donation, 20,000 doses, distributed nationwide. July 1982. CDC notices a disturbing pattern. Hemophiliacs are dying of pneumocystis pneumonia, a disease that only affects people with destroyed immune systems. 3 hemophiliacs, no other risk factors, all used Factor VIII, all dying of opportunistic infections. We realized whatever was causing AIDS in gay men and IV drug users was now in the blood supply. The clotting factor was contaminated. CDC calls an emergency meeting with blood banks and pharmaceutical companies. The tension in the room was palpable. Dr. Francis argued, "We need to screen donors, defer high-risk groups, heat-treat the clotting factor to kill viruses." The industry responded, "You're asking us to throw out millions of dollars of inventory based on speculation. We have no proof the supply is contaminated." The blood products industry was worth billions. 4 companies dominated the market, and the stakes were purely financial. Factor VIII cost pennies to produce, sold for hundreds of dollars per dose. Massive profit margins that the industry was desperate to protect. Heat-treating Factor VIII would require retooling factories, destroying existing inventory, losing millions in the process. The blood industry knew by mid-1982 that AIDS was likely in the blood supply. They chose profits over safety. It's that simple. For 3 years, the industry delayed, debated, denied, all while infected blood products were manufactured and sold. Act 2, the infections. Hemophiliacs had no choice. Without Factor VIII, they would bleed to death. They trusted their medicine. Ryan White, age 3, diagnosed with severe hemophilia. He received Factor VIII 3 times every week. December 1984. Ryan is diagnosed with AIDS, infected from his clotting factor. He's only 5 years old. Ryan wasn't alone. 90% of severe hemophiliacs were infected. That's 10,000 people. Half would die within 15 years. Children, teenagers, adults, all infected while being treated for a different disease. The betrayal was total. Hemophiliacs weren't the only victims. Surgical patients, accident victims, new mothers. Anyone who received blood transfusions was at risk. I hemorrhaged during childbirth in 1981. They gave me 7 pints of blood. 1 was contaminated. I didn't know until 1986. Elizabeth unknowingly infected her daughter through breastfeeding, her son through pregnancy, her husband through sexual contact. 1 transfusion, 4 people. 12,000 transfusion recipients were infected. Estimates suggest over 20,000 total infections originated from contaminated blood. 1984. Scientists develop a test to detect HIV antibodies in blood. The industry can finally screen donations, but they don't. Implementation is delayed. The test costs money, it requires training, it will reduce the donor pool. They worry about the bottom line. While they debate logistics, contaminated blood continues being collected, processed, and transfused into unsuspecting patients. Every month they delayed testing was another month of infections. Hundreds of people. We were screaming at them to stop. They wouldn't listen. Finally, in March 1985, 3 years after the first warning, HIV testing of blood donations begins. But the damage was done. Act 3, the cover-up. When U.S. companies finally heat-treated their Factor VIII, they had a problem. Millions of dollars of contaminated inventory. They couldn't sell it in America anymore, so they sold it overseas. Bayer and other companies shipped contaminated clotting factor to Latin America and Asia. Thousands more were infected in Japan, Taiwan, and beyond. They knowingly sold contaminated products where regulations were lax. to increase profits. They knew it was contaminated. They knew it would infect people. They sold it anyway. It was criminal. There's no other word for it. Hemophiliacs and transfusion recipients sued. Class action lawsuits targeted blood banks, pharmaceutical companies, and even the Red Cross. 1997, a $660 million settlement, divided among 10,000 people. That's just $66,000 each, for a life of HIV. They gave me HIV when I was 7 years old. The settlement barely covered my medical bills, and no one went to jail, not one person. No executives charged, no criminal trials, settlements with no admission of wrongdoing. The industry moved on. The victims did not. Ryan White tried to attend school. Parents and the school board fought to ban him. They feared he'd spread AIDS. They didn't understand. Ryan sued for the right to attend school. He won. He became the face of AIDS education in America, a child of incredible courage. He survived discrimination, survived hate, but he couldn't survive the virus he was given at age 5. The clock was ticking. April 8, 1990. Ryan White dies of AIDS. He was only 18 years old. A life stolen by corporate negligence. Act 4. The legacy. Today, the blood supply is the safest it's ever been. Every donation is screened with multiple layers of technology. Modern tests detect HIV within 10 days of infection. The window period is nearly closed. We have learned brutal lessons from the past. The risk today is 1 in 1.5 million. In 1982, it was likely 1 in 1,000. A staggering difference. We learned brutal lessons from the 80s. Today, we have multiple layers of safety: donor screening, questioning, testing, pathogen reduction. It's safe. But safety came too late for tens of thousands. The scale of the tragedy is hard to fathom. 10,000 hemophiliacs, 12,000 recipients. By the year 2000, roughly half the hemophiliacs infected in the 80s had died. Ryan White, Ariel Glazer, tens of thousands of others. What if the industry had acted in 1982? Estimated infections prevented, 15,000. Lives saved, 7,000. A different history. We told them. We begged them. They chose money over lives, and people died because of it. Children died because of it. The cost was too high. Today, donating and receiving blood is safe. Every pint is tested. Every clotting factor heat-treated. This tragedy couldn't happen now. Hemophiliacs today use synthetic clotting factors. No human blood is involved. They are safe. But the executives, they were never prosecuted. This vial of Factor VIII from 1984 is contaminated with HIV. It was meant to save lives. It ended them instead. Because profit won. For more stories like these, visit us at unbedsidemanners.com. Learn more and support safe blood donation at redcrossblood.org.